I hope everybody can see me clearly and hear me clearly. Welcome to our webinar. Today we will talk about how companies can integrate AI as a sustainable, valuable part of their marketing environments. And I'm very happy that you all are here with me today. We will talk about things that will change this year and in the next year, and how to get from exploring all the AI stuff into scaling your company into this new world. But before we dive into that, just let me introduce your host real quick. We are Ray Sono. We are an agency that helps its customers to get the most out of digital innovation. We take challenges and we transform them into opportunities. And we do this for quite a while now in an ever faster changing world. You can find us in Munich, in Berlin, in Frankfurt, and basically all over the country and the world. My name is Johann, and I'm doing digital experience strategy for over a decade now. I'm exploring how technology, digital innovation can help us to improve things like storytelling, like brand building, marketing, content, or communication in general. And since 2018, I have the privilege to do so with more than 70 great people at the digital communication divisions at Ray Sono for our many, many fantastic clients. With this personal history told, it's probably no big wonder that I have been fascinated with everything that was happening in Gen AI in the last 1.5 years. And even if we will talk today a lot about all the problems we will be facing in the next year, at first I just have to tell you that the last year was fantastic to me. I mean, it took us just 15 months to come from stuff like this to that. Technology made an incredible leap in this time, and I still get up every day in the morning really happy to be able to try all this out. And because of that, I want to share a little completely work and marketing unrelated story with you. I recently started rereading The Lord of the Rings after watching the Amazon show. And I love the book, and I always love to deep dive into all the history behind it, in the places and the names and the language Tolkien developed for it. So it was, whenever I read it, it always was a lot of Googling on the side. Well, not anymore. I built myself a Google Notebook which produces a podcast for me to one certain deep dive topic. So every Monday I go to work exploring one detail, listening to stuff like this.
It's interesting to me that even the hobbits, those homebodies, have stories about men and their impact on the world.
It's true. Even in the
I won't
Shire,
bore you with
tucked away,
Lord of the Rings stuff.
Peaceful.
But on the side, I built a GPT that I can ask during my reading. And just for the fun of it, I named it Johann Bayerl and made it talk with a quirky wizard voice.
Sei gegrüßt, junge Abenteurer. Ich, Johann Galf, der weise und ein wenig verschmitzte Zauberer, stehe dir zur Seite auf deiner Reise durch
fantastic that I
Mittelerde.
myself can trigger something wonderful like this. This makes me happy every day. But I'm not showing you this today to underline what a huge nerd I am, but because it's very symptomatic for what we all did in the first months and years of Gen AI in marketing. And the bad news of today will be that this happy time of exploring, of trying things out, of being the child in the sandbox with AI, that this happy time might be over. Because next year, as marketers, AI will hit us harder, because reality will hit. We've reached the reality checkpoint phase on Gartner's hype cycle, and this means loss of control, being overwhelmed for a lot of us with the topic of AI. Big players will adjust to the new reality faster than us, taking control over what's happening. And the signs for this happening are already visible in 2024. Just a few examples. Google and its competitors are transforming discovery, developing from search engine into answering engines, which with much less control for brands and marketing. Google actually is kind of leaving its sacred realm of getting keywords and giving out links, because the new AI reality and the new competitors like Perplexity AI or GPT Search are dictating it. Secondly, Apple already rewrites the emails you send to your customers using Apple AI. They are starting to curate every email, changing how we reach our customers on a personalized level. And Google announced to do the same on every Pixel phone. Thirdly, Meta and, by the way, also Amazon are trying to create AI content without even asking their users. Meta announced plans to generate multimedia assets for every user without even asking, flooding their own platform with lots and lots and lots of AI-generated content. And these are just 3 tips of the iceberg that is coming towards us, because there will be some major changes in the AI upside down of next year. First and most obvious, the ability to create content is no longer a distinguishable feature. Creative assets will become inflational. Second, and I think even more importantly, we develop from an attention economy into an intention economy, which means that in the past, you as a sender, as the marketing team, were controlling the form of the message sent. And in the new reality, the receiver will trigger the input and will define the form of the message being sent to him. The AI agent's job will be to curate the information for its users. So everything will be curated. And as a result, the plannable and planned marketing that we used to know will become more and more a real-time situations. And marketing teams aren't so good to deal with real-time situations, as you might know. So this is all something we have to deal with in the next year. And the proper question for the arrival of all this shouldn't be anymore, can AI write this email or do this picture for me? But the questions should be, how does our digital marketing has to adapt to survive in this new AI-driven world? So, big questions that require big answers. And of course, we won't be able to solve these problems in just 45 minutes today. But today, we are going to tackle all these 3 topics in general, with some very fundamental questions behind it. How can AI help you to produce content that actually makes you stand out from your competition? How should you react to the arrival of AI agents that curate everything? And thirdly, do you have the right mindset for automation and personalization projects within your digital marketing? Because these will be very important when dealing with real-time situations. Okay, this is the agenda for today, and let's start right in with the first question. We start with AI in your creative process. And the question is, does AI actually make your content better? And this is a very important question. And the reason for this you can see here. 4.6 billion pieces of content are published new every day on the internet. 4.6 billion videos, audio files, text articles, blog articles, social media posts are published, and the internet is growing and growing and growing. And AI-produced content will make this number rise and will make the situation worse. And the most important thing for you as marketers here is that the gate you have to pass to being recognized by a user is getting narrower and narrower and narrower. 4.6 billion pieces narrower a day. So making great content with AI or without it is not a matter of quantity or of speed, but a matter of precision. And one thing is clear to me. Nobody will pass this gate by getting into the game of AI shitification. AI shitification is a lovingly name we give to content like this. The first one from a German tourism board creating the AI influencer from hell, which created a huge negative backlash from the public and its community. And the second one is actually the recent Coca-Cola Christmas spot, which is just a heartless and soulless repetition of the things that have already been created in the past. And these are just 2 very obvious examples for bad content when AI was just used for AI's sake. And here it's very obvious, bad content. But even if we look a little deeper in content data, the picture stays the same. AI-only content right now, in the moment, tends to flop. Users don't stick with it, they don't engage with it, and it disappears in the end in the depths of the internet. Here you can see the performance of AI-only produced blog articles from an SEO perspective. This is bad, and it's money burned for the people that produced it. So why do these examples fail so bad? Because they ask the wrong question, and the question shouldn't be, how can I use AI to produce more content, but rather, how can I use AI to make my content more recognizable in this huge growing sea of content that is out there? And the common mistake a lot of marketing creative producers make is to just regard AI as an output tool in the end of your creative process. But AI can actually help you a lot, and a lot better if you deploy it at the right stages of your whole creative process for the right reasons. Let's talk about research. At the start of your creative process, AI can help you understand your audience better. Firstly, it can help you to sort all the huge amount of data you already have, contextualize it. And secondly, with this contextualized data, it can bring a customer to your creative table. This is data from your market research, but also from your social media, from your social listening. Put this together and put out customized GPTs tailored to your industry or your target audience, giving your creative team a faster and more haptic perspective on the people they are actually working for. Think of Johann Bayerl, but as your customer. This is nothing creative yet, but it will rise the quality in a later process, especially when you think in modular and personalized experiences. Secondly, AI can play a fantastic role as a creative partner during your concept and the ideation phase. And this is where you really want to gain speed, because this is where we need speed. We use AI to create and visualize ideas and directions very early in the creative process. The video you see here was a concept piece for a storytelling format focused on balcony spaces as personal realms for people in Berlin. And we used this set of different AI tools to create this video in under 1 day. And videos like this, concept pieces like this, allow us to define the quality and the details of our work together with our customer for all the different target groups in a very early stage in the process. We can simulate casting for creators or actors, and we can finalize storyboarding in a very tangible and visualized way to prepare for the best possible outcome in the end. A company that does this very good is Mango. Mango did its first AI-only campaign this summer, and they told us that most of the AI work they did was not in the production of the actual assets, but in the early creative process. So this is where you want to bring up your team to speed. And this is also a good opportunity to use this momentum in your actual creative process, because of course you can use AI here to gain relevance not by creating more of the same, but by using AI to make assets more unique, to use them for more diversity or testing opportunities. The goal should be to elevate your content and not replicate what's already there. Make it more diverse, make it more personalized, make testable versions of your content. Make it more emotional, make it pop out by creating motion or sound where you couldn't do so before. So this is all stuff that makes your content more recognizable. But no matter what exactly you do here with which tool set, you always want it to come from a trained and developing environment, because this is the moment when you can scale it on a higher level. And the fundament for a developing environment is always your creative data. So after looking at your whole process, this is the second most important part. You have to have your creative data right. Your CI, your guidelines, your best practice content, it must be complete, it must be in place, and it must be structured and accessible for AI, because this is crucial for an AI environment to work. Here you see the creative backend from a LoRa Flux combination from our creative partner Arne from Berlin. We are exploring stuff like this together with them. And the goal here is to create testable variations of advertising content and images and training an AI on the project. And here in the backend, adjust the informations for one image. And to get usable and testable outcomes for a whole process behind it, you really have to make sure that you can provide the data fundament an AI creation process needs. So, if you are asking me for a checklist for next year regarding creativity and creating AI assets with value, it would be this. Firstly, check your whole creative process for AI opportunities, not just the last step. Find out where AI can help you and enhance your process. Secondly, to stick with Lord of the Rings, there is not one tool to rule them all. Enable your creative team to equip and use a matching set of multiple tools. You saw in my examples that we have a lot of tools in place and we know how to combine them for certain use cases because every use case needs another tool combination. So you have to get your creative team up to the task for this. And if you don't have the team for it, you can just use ours, of course. And thirdly, get your creative data structured and ready for AI integration. Think adaptive and modular CIs that are accessible as libraries. You can do this in a great Figma environment, in a great design system environment, or just in a very cleaned up and structured Frontify. So all this goes, you just have to do it. All right. So we talked about AI in creativity. And now we will make a little big jump in a totally other direction. We will talk about AI agents, because when we produce this great content, we want people to discover it. And discovering content will be hugely about AI agents in the near future, because they will be everywhere and you should be prepared for them. So let's talk a little about AI agents and just really quick have a look into what they actually are. Basically, we talk about AI assistants that are able to carry out complex tasks that require multiple tools, a huge amount of data, and memory capabilities. And these are the things that really differentiate them from the LLMs like ChatGPT you have today. But it's important that these things aren't your average chatbots, but a lot of them will run in the background without users even noticing. It will be the search engine agents that help us carry out complex search tasks. It will be the Apple AI bot in the operating system that knows what emails are relevant to me and which are not, because it knows my own history. Or it will be agents deployed by platforms like Check24 that help me make difficult decisions for a new insurance or a new car or the next travel destination. Take my Johann Bayerl project, for example. It's basically an AI agent that curates information for me as I read and gives it out in proper form. It might, of course, be your own agent you deploy on your own platform to help your users with complex tasks. And there might even be a lot of agent talking to agent situation coming up in the near to midterm future. Just look at how OpenAI is imagining the future of customer service when giving back a broken iPhone.
Oh, got it. When did Joe receive the new iPhone? The iPhone was delivered 2 days ago. Cool. Could you share the order number with me? Of course. It's 10.
This goes on for a while, and it of course sounds like science fiction, but think of all the use cases I named. They will be here next year, and these agents will have a lot of impact, and there will be a lot of these agents. They will become part of everyday interactions, and they'll impact hugely how customers will find and interact with your brand, with your content, with your product. So, one of the most important tasks of marketing teams in the next year is being discoverable by these AI agents and using them for your advantage. And the key to that is, of course, data, because data is not the new oil, it's the new water. It's a life necessity for your marketing. And nobody should talk about AI possibilities without talking about data. So let's do this for a little while, talk about data. The good news here is that the rules of an excellent marketing data environment won't change with the arrival of AI agents. These agents won't be so hard to trick because they will rely more or less on the same three major data sources that you should have under control by today. First one is your record data, your internal data architecture. This is your product data, your accessible content data, support information, any content that lives within your system. It should be accessible at the right time to the right agent, especially when it's your own agent you deploy. The second one is public data, accessible information on your own and other platforms. This means, of course, the content you publish on your own platform, but most importantly, it also means the metadata behind this content. And it means the public data about you everywhere else, like reviews or social mentions. And thirdly, you have your customer data. This is the data about the AI agent's owner in this case. So this is something the user has told the bot, him or herself, I am this person and I want to do this task. And of course, it can also come out of cookies, tracking of your CRM system or of your analytics system if you look at user behavior. So these are three major data sources that help an agent to deliver the right information. It ensures that you have the correct and up-to-date information, that it's in the right context, and ensures the personal relevance for the user. And if the agent, in this case, decides in your favor, puts you in front as the most relevant thing for its users, then this is the moment you win. And this is why when you design your data in terms of AI and you design your own agents, this is your moment you should target towards with everything, because this is the moment you win. And for this to happen, that your data sets must be clean and they must be connectable, data being maintained fully and uniformly, interfaces being in place. We call this state data liquidity, and it will be a huge factor in your success in an AI-driven universe, as it always has been in omnichannel marketing. And I perfectly well know that this is easier said than done, because the reality much more often looks like something like this. And if this is your major problem right now, messy data system, then the consequences might get worse in the next year, and you should start working at it right away, because AI agents won't work around messy data. They will simply ignore it. And you can get it from years of Roomba experience. If you want a robot work in your room, you really, really need a clean floor. If you want to do a simple check of how you're doing right now, just ask GPT Search or Perplexity AI, which are the first agents you can deploy right now, some questions your customer might ask. Not questions about your company, this would be pretty easy, but questions about their intentions and their business. If I'm a customer, what are my 5 best options I have as a customer right now? And if you don't like the answer the agents are giving you, the problem might lie in your data. The good news is that you don't necessarily need the big data IT revolution project to start with. You might need it, but you might not have to start with it. And because you can improve a lot of data things from a marketing circle of control. Just take, for example, metadata, which is one of the most crucial open flanks of companies, because creating great metadata costs time and it costs skills, and all this companies don't have right now. And here you can see a demo we created that provides the necessary metadata right within a CMS system with the help of an AI plugin, so that you don't have an image without a proper alt text on your website anymore. And this will make a huge impact. And plugins like these, of course, they are fed by data. And this data is stored in individual knowledge base for your topic. Centralizing information, marketing information in a manageable, defined space can help you to make them accessible more easy. And you can set these up in spaces where you already have the pieces of data you need. You have to be careful not to set up some kind of shadow IT, but this is possible. For example, for creating metadata, FAQs, or service content. And this is something you can start right away. And thirdly, most easy, not really, but it seems so, just take community management seriously, because unanswered negative reviews or comments and the general public sentiment towards you will have a huge impact on agents' results. So if you're not already doing it, invest in community management and explore possibilities like corporate influencers to better up your reputation. So, your checklist for dealing with AI agents. First, make an assessment about which agents actually might play a relevant role in your marketing system and check your data quality accordingly. Of course, we can help you with that. Secondly, raising data quality mustn't only mean big data projects, and it's not just the responsibility of your data team. Distinguishing quick wins for you as a marketing team, things you can do alone, and long-term necessities you need partners for, to be able to quickly plan on the long term and on the quick win side at the same time. And thirdly, most importantly, set up those data improvement projects, because everybody tends to talk a lot about database working, but people tend not to act so much on it. So really stop this thing and keep it going. All right. We talked about the importance of data. We talked about AI agents coming. We talked about AI in creativity that helps you to produce better content. And now we will talk about the elephant in the room, about automation, the thing everybody wants to do, and the questions, do you have a smart approach to it? First of all, automation for me is all about personalization, because personalization will be important as hell in the next year. We already heard about AI curation of everything. And of course, personalized content will be the content of relevance that passes the narrow gate. Johann Golf is a highly personalized experience, and this is why I love it so much. So you will want to use AI to do personalized campaigns in the future. You can use various tools to automate your marketing, to automate your campaigns. And I'm pretty sure you have in place some of these tools already. It's your AM systems, it's your digital experience systems in general, it's your CRM systems like Salesforce, and it's all the AI tool providers you're experiencing right now, like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. And they all work pretty well, and they all work pretty much the same. So we don't have the time to dive into these single tools today. I rather want to talk to you about your general approach to these kind of projects and your mindset behind it, because this approach will make a huge difference between success or failure, no matter what tool you use. And I want to show you just one graphic to highlight this. Many decision makers are assuming right now that AI will automatically lead to lower production and processing expenses. And this might be right. This will be right, of course. And in conclusion, they think this allows them to produce more in quantity, which will lead to a higher ROI. And this assumption is wrong, and it leads you in the wrong direction. Because you know what happens when you approach automation like this. That will happen. This is an actual piece of jewelry sold in the US and in Europe until somebody noticed it, coming from an automated and not properly designed and managed process by a very toxic fast fashion company. And you shouldn't your own AI automation, you shouldn't approach your own AI automation like this, because two things will happen then. First, your quality will go down, making your actions less impactful or even, as you can see, harmful. Yeah, and there are a lot of ways harmful things can happen with AI. Think about biased results, racist content, in a less evil case, just content that doesn't work properly. Yesterday, I made the new Amazon chatbot recommend to me to go to a local bookstore in Munich. This was a fun thing to do, but it's not great for Amazon. And stuff like this makes everything worse, especially in a huge quantity of content, a high rate of errors and problems will eat up all the savings and efficiency you hope to gain. And this leads us to the second thing that will happen. It gets expensive because AI isn't free. No matter what everybody is telling you right now, AI isn't free. Every prompt consumes 10 to 50 milliliters of water. And this is just one example of the costs. And these costs will come back to you in form of tool costs, because right now the tools are very cheap because the tool providers are in a very competitive field. But once this is settled, they will rise the costs because they want to have their share of revenue, and in form of regulatory duties. So if you build automation system, you want these things to be as effective and efficient as possible. Your goal will be to keep or even rise the value of your output, even in higher quantity, while lowering production costs. And the key to do this is to invest more in the beginning, in the concept before production, and in the field of quality assurance around it, because these parts will be hugely different in an automated campaign setup than they will be in your usual campaign setup or in your always-on scenario. Let's start with concept. In the end, it comes down to exactly knowing what you want to achieve with your individual approach. You can see here a very simple text automation interface done by our data partner, Dane Studios, who we are working on projects like these. And it's a marketing text automation scenario. And here you see the framework behind it, and it shows us what questions we have to answer in the concept stage. Do we actually have the right set of data to set up our automation? What data exactly do we need? What's the master content? You might need a huge amount of best practice content or really well-designed master content to train and set up your AI. How are we indexing and storing the data to make it accessible? And most importantly, which use cases benefit us and our users most? Because every use case needs a different approach. And answering all this is a deeper conceptual approach than you are used to in your general campaign or marketing setup. And the bigger this automation setup gets, the more complex it will be. Zalando tested its AI chatbot with more than 70,000 prompts before letting it into the public. And this is, of course, an XL scenario, but it shows us where this can go. You really have to know what's the thing that you want to do, because it gets more complex if you want to do more. And it brings us directly into the second topic, the topic of quality assurance. Because quality assurance, in my opinion, will be the make or break point for a lot of marketing automation approaches using AI. And we have to change our perspective of the topic as marketing teams. In the past, quality assurance was a very manual thing. Human control, single people checking single things. And of course, in the next year, we still will be checking single things manually. Don't be afraid. But we have to prepare for a new reality in which assuring quality is not merely the topic of human control. Think about Johann Bayerl. You can't control what he's telling me before he tells it to me. And we won't be able to check many things manually. So for our marketing teams, not being able to check things manually, and everything for marketing will know this, will be a big change. And for the companies around these marketing teams, it will be a major change. But it will be the change that's happening, because the big lever of ensuring quality lies in different things now. Firstly, in correct and excellent data. I already talked about that. Secondly, in clean and accessible rules and concepts for your content output. I also talked about that. And thirdly, in the right roles and processes on your side. And this, in my experience, is one of the bigger problems for companies when dealing with AI and AI automation. Who is responsible for which part of the campaign? What content has to be checked? In which intensity? By what stakeholders? By whom? What's your master content? All these questions have to be answered when setting up personalization and automation. And your hypothesis should be that your current quality assurance process is too big and too inflexible and too complex for working with AI automation. The good thing is you can try this out on a smaller level. Here's one of our first AI automated campaigns we did for Voigt more than 1.5 years ago. From a conceptual white paper, we derived 68 LinkedIn assets that worked really well in terms of performance. The beauty, however, didn't lie in the fact that it created the imagery with Midjourney or the text with ChatGPT, but it's the process behind it. To create the master content, we had a deep understanding of the target group. We had a high focus on quality assurance in our master content, which was the white paper. And so we assured a high effectiveness and a low error quote in producing the automated content. And we didn't check 68 assets with all the stakeholders we used to check assets with. And this was very new to us and very new to the customer. And this is a learning curve I think we all have to go in the next year. Same goes for image examples like this one from Arne I showed you before. The checklist, my checklist for a smart approach to automation, not regarding what tools you use or what AI approach you use. Notice that AI automated campaigns, marketing activities like campaigns, have a completely different conceptual requirements than your usual campaigns. It's about a strong technical and content fundament, about very clear use cases and a high degree of user centricity, which are a prerequisite. Secondly, your current quality assurance process might be too inflexible for the work with AI. Create clear, simplified responsibilities in the AI-supported production process. And thirdly, again, an excellent database is the basis for high efficiency and a low error rate. You need this before you start scaling automation. All right. 3 major changes and 3 topics we explored within these changes. So we could be nearly at the finish line here, but I brought one more thing that's very important to me, and it should be very important to you. And this is the questions of what great teams that can deal with all this already look like. What's the right team setup to carry out this innovation in marketing? And the most important truth everybody should have in their mind all the time is this: that AI projects are always change projects, and they will still stay change projects in the next year. So we have to regard them as such from the beginning. There's a common sentence, common knowledge going around on LinkedIn for the whole last year. And that's not entirely wrong, but I would like to correct it slightly. AI won't replace you, but great teams knowing how to use AI will, because it is a team effort. The ability to bring AI into your company base, into your teams of the company, will be a crucial factor in dealing with AI successfully, and well-designed teams are a key to that. And when I look into the companies I deal with, I mostly right now see 2 major approaches to AI. The first one is putting it into an individual unit that gets the AI mission. These are your think tanks, your innovation labs, and of course, this can work, especially when it's designed well and especially for prototyping. But you always will have problems scaling it back into the whole company. And the second one is much worse. It's every single business unit trying out its own prototypical approach. And these approaches are always almost doomed to fail. And this is very tragic, because here you have the people from the base that once you actually want to work with AI and want to open up for innovation. And this scenario here is, in my opinion, one of the main reasons that right now 74% of all companies fail to leave prototyping stage and proof of concept stage. A new BCG study says exactly that. So we have to change this. Try to approach your AI projects, no matter in what field I told you before. Try to approach them in a way that combines both worlds. Instead of approaching AI problem solving from silos, find a common business relevant use case and combine completely new teams on these tasks. If these are people that haven't worked together very closely before, all the better. Everyone bringing to the table what they can deliver best, from the right business use case to the technological execution. We did something like this with Austrian Airlines last year when setting up highly personalized newsletters, 2 newsletter prototypes, one of them with AI generated imagery. We combined the expertise of the Lufthansa digital hangar responsible for the data with the tech team behind the experience system, with the creative team and the marketing teams as the business owner. And we developed and rolled out 2 prototypes, which were so successful that we put up steady formats behind them. They were successful in terms of performance KPIs, but also they made all the people working on it very, very happy, because it showed us how a joint interdisciplinary team can really make the difference in rolling out innovation. As an agency, we played the role of connector, of catalyst, and keeping everything together. And I think this is generally something your digital agency should do for you in these scenarios. We call these kind of project setups MVCs, minimum viable change teams, interdisciplinary project teams that develop best case concepts that afterwards can be scaled into the whole organization, because the people come from the organization working in these MVCs. And with these MVCs in place, you should be able to set up a program that helps you scale the knowledge you gather working with AI. And of course, in the first phase, this scaling won't be about business impact, but it will be about maturity. And I'm sure a lot of you are already deep in this phase. But if you think of MVCs and MVOs here, and because they are based in your whole organization, you are able to expand them back into the community and into a scaling phase where you roll out the former prototypes into business relevant solutions. We as an agency help you as a catalyst, as technological or processual enablers, and with additional skills you might not have for yourself right now. But the important thing here is that you have to invest in this scenario. We went to the World Summit AI in Amsterdam in October, and the VP responsible for AI at Dell told us that they invest as much in process mining and in the development of people as in the technological development process itself. BCG suggests to their customers to invest 70% of the budget in supporting people in scenarios exactly like this, because AI will be not the successful rollout of AI won't be a question of technology, but of the people. And transformation, taking everybody along, will be a huge responsibility for marketing teams in next year. And not only for them, but for the whole companies around them. All right. So we talked about AI and creativity and the right approach to it, about the role of AI agents, about a smart approach. We talked about one question behind the smart approach to automation, and about scaling it into your organizations and your teams. And I know this is a lot to process right now, and we are nearly at the finish line now. This is a lot to process, not so much the last hour, but the whole thing happening around us right now. And it's a lot to process for me as well. So I want to share one last thought with you that always lightens up my mood when I feel that there's just too much going on around me sometimes. And this is that this strange and changing and disruptive world we are experiencing right now is as new to the AI as it is to us. AI is not nearly grown and it's not nearly finished. So we have the chance to develop side by side with this new kid on the block. And I think this is a very hopeful thought. And with this thought, I say thank you very much for your attention. If you want to discuss anything of this deeper with me or someone from my team, or if you just want our team to do your marketing, get in touch over our website or over the QR code at the top. And if I see anything interesting, like the stuff I showed you today, I tend to share it on my LinkedIn page, so feel free to follow me here. And now I think or hope that we have still a few minutes left for answering some questions. Thank you. Okay, I get into question mode. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, F&A. Okay, all right. So, from an ethical point of view, how is ensured that agents do not learn from agent? AI feeds another AI. Is the information flow strictly one-directional and only based on information data that has been fed in, so limited? Excellent question, because the ethical point of view is something. I showed you the swastika jewelry. This was exactly the thing I was pointing at. The ethical question is a question we should always ask ourselves in using AI. The answer is, in this case, you can design it both ways. You can have a limited space of data, and then the AI will only be able to deal with the data you provide to it. But of course, the use cases are very limited with this. If you have an AI that, for example, can search the web or has access to a huge database, you always have to be very careful about what the AI is doing. And the bigger energy you put into quality assurance is the best thing you can do here. Train your AI, develop your AI, make it learn from its own mistakes. This is something you have to do in quality assurance. I already told you the number. 70,000 prompts is something Zalando fed to its own chatbot before, and they rated all the answers after that, so to see where the chatbot is already performing well or not performing well. And of course, you have to take in account things like biased answers, racist answers. This is stuff you have to test out and then help your AI to get better. But you won't ever be able to fully ensure that learning from another agent and doing the wrong stuff won't happen. So better start limited and then scale in a more open space. Okay. More. New button. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Have to look in the chat. Okay. This was it. Thank you very much. Feel free to reach out to us. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for your time. And after this session, you will receive, I think, an email with a record of this, with a record of this session and with the presentation, so you can share it with your friends and colleagues. Thanks, and see you next time. And I hope you had fun. Bye bye.